Hey, what's up? Welcome back to GameSpot stage right here at E3 2015. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Nick Yu, producer over Concept. How you doing, my friend? We're here to talk about one of those Kickstarter games. I don't know if you heard of Kickstarter. Apparently now you can just put one on a conference.
What is that?
Yeah, you can just put it on a conference now and it'll earn $2 million pretty quickly.
That was amazing.
It still hasn't caught up with Mighty Number 9 though. You guys, it was 3.8 or something?
3.8 on Kickstarter alone, and then on PayPal we had about $20,000. So overall, $4 million at the very end.
That just knocked it over the edge. I liked it. That was pretty cool. And what's cool about your game is that it's really proof of concept for when Kickstarter works is that we're going to see it in September. So you guys have turned it around in 2 years.
2 years, a little bit less than 2 years, but we really worked hard on it.
Yeah.
We really did.
We got some gameplay we're going to get to in a little while. For those who don't know anything, I'm sure that there's not many people who don't. Obviously, the lineage with Mega Man and Keiji Inafune. Just give us a sort of a backstory as to how this game came about.
So, Inafune has been making action games for almost his entire career, and that's like, what, a little bit less than 30 years now.
Wow.
So, he's always been a huge fan of the action games, and he likes to make them. And I'm pretty sure, 2D side-scroll games always, in the back of his head. And when our agent brought up this idea of, starting a Kickstarter, this is the first place he wanted to do. Like, let's do 2D side-scroll games. And then we'll gather from there. We'll see who should we, asking this game to be made from. And immediately he saw, Integrates.
Yeah.
They have been making, 2D side-scroll games for their whole life. And we also, talked with Tom Pon and Matsumai-san, if you know those people. They are actually the original Mega Man team with Inafune himself. So the original team coming back together to make this game.
Excellent. We're sort of used to Kickstarter here in the West. Was this a game that was being sold from Japan to like the Western audience, or is Kickstarter a known quantity in Japan?
Well, not too many people know Kickstarter, the brand of Kickstarter in Japan, but I think once we got our project funded, we had some media coverage on Yahoo or those websites. So now people are kind of know about Kickstarter, and also they have their own crowdfunding system in Japan as well. So I think more people kind of noticing about Kickstarter, and I think a couple weeks ago, a project just ended their Kickstarter. It's called Bloodstained by Koji Igarashi. So more Japanese devs are trying, I think, looking into Kickstarter now.
For sure, and we saw a lot more of it on Sony's stage, of course, as we talked about earlier.
That one, yes,
I know.
Huge.
I think I've dropped $29 on that. Have you done it yet?
Before I came to E3, I just backed Bloodstained. I just backed that one, and now Shaman comes around. I was like, come on!
You have to wait for years to get all these games. But we won't have to wait that long to play Mighty Number 9. It's out in September, and we're looking at it in action right now. So talk us through exactly what we're seeing on stage.
So right now, I think Willpower's playing backstage. This is the intro stage of the game. It's basically the tutorial stage, and it should be the easiest stage to go through. In this stage, you'll learn the basic controls and the basic game flow of the game. And I think the core or the base of the game is we added this feature called the absorption dash. Basically, you shoot enemies a couple times, and then they'll change color, and that's when they're kind of stunned. So when that happens, you want to use your dash towards them, absorb their powers, and then that's the easiest way to defeat enemies. But also at the same time, the players will kind of risking getting hit in close range. So there's all that risk versus reward kind of thing. So if you want to get higher scores, you want to absorb them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So now you see the numbers popping up on the enemy's head, 100%, 90%. That's that's showing how fast you absorb that enemy. So if you want, you can actually chain all the enemies at 100% throughout the whole stage, and by the end you get like 100% absorption rate. And I'm pretty sure the hardcore fans will compete with that.
Yeah, Inafune's games have never been, well, they've sort of been scalable, like easy to pick up and play, but
that's
very,
exactly
very difficult.
what we're aiming for.
So do you expect that the super hardcore players will have that level of difficulty to sort of aspire to?
They will meet their challenges for sure. I mean, this is only the normal difficulty level. We also have hard and hyper, which is even harder. And then we just added this new level, difficulty level. It's called Maniac. What it does is basically you'll die with one shot.
Oh man!
Any kind of damage will kill you right there.
Is there fall damage, or is he okay on fall damage?
Any kind of damage, any damage you'll receive, you'll die.
Somebody looks at you wrong and you die.
And there is the willpower's just died by the spikes.
Unlucky.
You never beat the spikes.
How big are we talking in terms of the game? How many different sort of areas? How many different aesthetics?
So we have in total of 12 stages and 8 bosses for the first 8 stages. And then after you get that through, you get into a different type of stages, and you actually get one different playable character.
Oh, cool.
The Claw, the kind of heroine of the game. And her gameplay is totally different from what we're seeing with Beck's gameplay.
Oh my God. Is this some sort of robot cat situation?
Yes, and if you look at the life bar of the boss, the life bar isn't actually decreasing, and you saw that there. With bosses, you actually have to absorb them live to actually defeat them.
Oh wow!
So once the boss changes color, you actually have to dash towards them, and absorb their powers.
Oh wow!
If you don't do it fast enough, they will actually heal that amount of damage you just gave to them and become, healed again. So for every boss, you have to do that. I know it kind of sounds, crazy and a lot of work to do, but once you start doing it, you'll really see why we put it in there, because we want players to take the risk to get in close range with the boss and absorb their powers. So you actually have to time yourself, see the distance between yourself and the boss. So it's all about getting close and personal with the boss.
Yeah, and presumably with Inafune's previous titles, variety in boss fights and sort of as you unlock abilities and skills, bringing those into the fray. Is that very much the same in Mighty Number 9?
Yes. Basically, you will gain the boss's ability once you beat them, and you can use them against different bosses, as well as you can use them throughout the stage. Some of the stage actually require you to use some of the abilities to solve the puzzles. So you're not using the abilities against the boss, and you're using that in the stage as well.
What was it like working with the Kickstarter backers? Because I remember I was keeping an eye on the project over the past 2 years, and there were often times where you guys were even setting up votes on what character models should be in the game. What was that process like? How involved were the backers in the creation of it?
So Inafune, he has been saying that he wants to make the kind of games with not backers but fans together.
Yes.
And it's pretty much what that dream came true. So we had throughout the whole Kickstarter campaign, we made updates on what's going on with the project every day. And after the campaign, every day, it was brutal.
What happens if it was like the day before you guys were just out on the town, had a couple of beers, and you just didn't want to do anything that day?
Nobody was drinking a single drop of alcohol throughout the whole campaign. It's kind of...
Your launch party's going to be fun.
Now you kind of bring back the nightmare, so to say, or my nightmare, because I have to work from 10 o'clock until, say, 8 or 9 at night, and go home, have some dinner, and get myself shower, have about maybe 2 hours of sleep.
Oh my God!
And then wake up around 12 o'clock at midnight, starting working with the States.
Oh really?
Because it's two different time zones.
Yes.
I have to check all the updates that we're putting up the next day. I have to actually translate all this stuff.
Do you go back to bed then and then wake up again?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So my work will end around 3 or 4 a.m. I sleep for 3 hours, 4 hours. Wake up, drag myself to the office, and starting checking things and organizing these stuff. I did that for the whole month.
I guess that's what it takes to get a Kickstarter game out in under 2 years. Is somebody like you who's willing to get up at night time.
Now we are teaming up with Deep Silver, which is located in Germany.
It's even worse.
Now we're
Do you speak German as well?
No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. No, now I'm kind of working with 3 different time zones. Yeah. Before my flight to E3, I was working, before E3, it's always chaotic.
Totally.
Before E3, the Thursday, I was working until 10:30 in the office. Got back home around 11:30, dinner, shower, and then I started packing my bag for E3. And then around 4 a.m., we started recording for the DLC of My Number 9.
Oh, fun.
That was 5 hours of work.
Great.
I had to go through on Skype, and then I recorded. I stayed in the recording for 5 hours. I was like dead by the end.
Nick, you look surprisingly fresh for somebody who's just done all that work. Thank you so much for coming on our stage and showing off Mighty Number 9. It's out in September. What date and on what platforms?
So platform, I'll give you the short version. Everything. And
I was hoping you'd say them all.
The date for Mighty Number 9 is September 15th for North America, and then September 18th for worldwide. And for the platform, we have Steam, PC, Mac, and Linux, and PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Wii U at the same time in September. And for the handhelds, it's going to take a little bit longer than the consoles because it's more work. It's not just porting. We actually have to remake most of the stuff for the handhelds.
Cool.
So that's going to come a little bit later than that.
Awesome, and hopefully you'll enjoy your launch party. Nick, thank you so much
for coming
on.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate your time.